Hey guys, Ryan here, bringing us off commentary. This is going to be the second set in Group C of the Ro32 of the whatever MSL, which has a name now, which I forget, but I don't care. I'm going to keep putting in the question marks because they added in the sponsor after the Ro32, so whatever. It's going to be between Mind and C on Fighting Spirit. We're going to have C. Oh god, I totally lost the position. We're going to see at the upper left-hand corner at 11 o'clock as the red Terran. We're going to have Mind at the upper right-hand corner at the 1 o'clock as the blue Terran. As I just stated, this is going to be on Fighting Spirit. And I really look forward to this. This group is stacked in a very specific, very interesting way. And you're definitely promised at least 2 TVTs and possibly 3 TVTs. And we're going to see what these guys are measuring bring us. I'm going to stick right quick. 45, 46, 47. So yeah, this is Mind's best matchup. And he's very solid in a TVT game. Very standard TVT player. Just plays the good old standard TVT game. Dropships, siege tanks. The good old chess game. And he plays it pretty well. Now, C's TVT is nothing to shake a stick at either. It's his worst matchup, but saying it's his worst matchup is not really saying much at 59% or almost 60. C's one of those guys, he's pretty much good at all matchups. He's extremely good at all matchups, but unfortunately, he never quite manages to utilize them in the clutch situation. It's kind of weird because he's the type of player that really plays well when he has a team behind him. When he has his team behind him, rooting him on, telling him he can do his best. When as his coach, you know, shown confidence in him, he's the type of player that really can shine. Not seeing a barracks from either player so far, so, okay, there we go. Finally seeing a barracks coming in from C up alongside a refinery. I was maybe thinking for a second one of these might be going for a quick CC, and I think that's what Mind might have in mind, actually, seeing it as his V. Yeah, I think he might, I'm not quite sure overall, might be thinking of building the CC. Yeah, he is going to go for command center, not put it straight in the natural expansion. He's going to put a more safe position and just float it off. Generally with a CC, you see the players put it straight in the natural expansion, but this is a bit of a safer route to take. C's going to scout him late, though, so he could have put it the natural expansion. It's still been fairly safe to any sort of two-fac opening. But generally, you don't really see a lot of creativity in builds overall. You see players generally go for the standard stuff everywhere, and that kind of saddens me. But, you know, things do change up every once in a while. You know, games generally go that one fac into expo, but sometimes you see some changes. Sometimes you see very aggressive expanding. Sometimes you see very heavy vulture play. So TVT does often enough involve play outside of the usual boring chess match that involves dropships and siege tanks and Goliaths and about nothing else. Let's see. So C was putting down. Let's see. C. He was. I did see he's putting down his. Did see him putting down his factory, and I did see him float off his barracks, so he's going to kind of stop by walling off. Mind, meanwhile, has his own barracks up, so he's probably going to be putting on his factory alongside very soon. As soon as he finishes the command center, so floating that off. So he's not going to be able to spot that right away, but he should be able to know that's what's happening. He's flying around, yeah, he's going to spot that command center floating down. We did see Mind put down his own factory, meanwhile. But the problem with this float is now that C might be trying to delay the landing for as long as possible. Meanwhile, going to put down his own command center to compete with that. Actually, okay, no, I thought he was putting down the bunker on the front. Did try to be a little bit harassing, I'm guessing, try to prevent that command center from falling down, but with all this CV around there and a couple Marines as well, too hard to do. One bunker at the front for Mind alongside those 2 Marines, pretty much what you want to do, especially with that initial vulture coming out for C, so Mind is defending pretty well. And it's really unfortunate for C that he's not really had, despite the kind of player he is, he's not really had any sort of Star League luck whatsoever. I think he's made it into a round of 16 maybe once or twice, but that's as good as he's gone. The kid's never, as far as I know, he has never played in a best-of-5 series, so we've never really seen what he can do in a best-of-5 series. He has a lot of potential, he shows a lot of potential, but he hasn't ever shown what he would be able to accomplish in that kind of situation. Unfortunately, both players putting down the sector factories. Mind is going to be a little bit economically behind, so C might have the early troop advantage, but he won't stay that way for too long. Going to float up his barracks since he doesn't really need a wall, because Mind's not going to be able to push out against them or do any sort of early damage. Does have his own expansion coming up right now. Well, Mind, meanwhile, probably going to use his barracks as a blockade, adding in an early second refinery, so he's going to try to get some gas up, going to try to get down maybe an additional factory, and maybe go the tech route as well. Armory coming up on the opposite side for C, so he's probably going to start the upgrades, and I'm wondering whether he's already thinking about maybe putting down a starport pretty quickly, trying to get those dropships out soon. Mine going to try to get another scout in there. Vulture's going to be able to pick an SCV off. Still gets the scout. Probably spotted the tank as well. Nothing too much to see on the opposite side. See getting the spot with his barracks, which is being shelled at by Marines at the moment. Well, I think we see Mind. Okay, I thought he was maybe... Yeah, he is putting down his armory just at the bottom right and the upper right. So, not really mirror builds, but both players going for the same thing. See, almost getting SCV scout inside. Think he spotted... I'm not quite sure whether he spotted the 2-fac. Might have spotted that. Is definitely putting down his second refiner alongside an academy right now to get some comms stations. He hasn't been able to get the scout in, so he wants those comms stations as soon as possible to get the scout inside of Mind's base. I think actually Mind didn't manage to get a scout inside of C's base either. So he's being forced to put down his own academy, get some of his own comms station up. So army composition is very interesting. Couple of Goliaths alongside a couple of tanks and a Vulture out there for C, while we see 4 Marines and 2 tanks out there for Mind. So these armies that can't compete with each other, while we see the 3rd factory now coming down from Mind. C is going to probably be a little bit behind in factory count for the early game anyway. Probably getting siege mode going if he doesn't have... Oh, might be going for his mindset. CV scout going to try to come out yet again. C going to hide his army away. Nice play there, just preventing the scout with that Vulture. Killing it off and hiding his own troops away. We see Mind has 1 tank over C at the moment, so it is going to be a little bit of a battle. It is going to be a little of a positioning battle if it ever comes to an actual fight between these 2 groups down the middle. Mind with the tank advantage might be able to do something. C does have that barracks to spot from, and Mind actually has his own barracks moving up, but there's no siege mode coming in. It's going to be siege. Mind does have siege, so C is going to be forced to come in very close. Does do a good job of picking off these tanks, splitting up his own tanks beautifully. Now he has 2 tanks left, but he's fighting against, with his own 2 Goliaths, fighting against Marines and a Goliath, going to be able to pick off this entire armed force. 1 Goliath barely going to run back home. C at this exact moment gets his own siege mode going, so he's going to take the middle. Also showing that barracks very heavily. Going to try to get rid of that barracks to stop factory production. Not quite sure whether he's going to manage that with only those 2 Goliaths, but at the very least, if he manages to pick that off, he's also going to stop factory production. We already see, yeah, Mind going for additional factory just in case that barrack goes down. He's going to be a little bit ahead in factory count. Yeah, the barracks should go down, actually, after 1 more. Okay, 1 more volley now. Now? Okay, there we go. So Mind's not going to be able to get in those additional factories. Not going to be pumping very heavily on the troops. Not going to have a lot of tanks to support. He's going to be have a decent number of Goliaths, but we're not seeing any starport play coming in. C is ahead on tanks. Gets a nice volley off on top of that bridge. So it's not really a contain per se, but he does have a position over Mind at the moment. Now he just has to keep on the pressure, just to keep producing troops. He's going to expand at the 12 o'clock. It's a perfect opportunity for him to do so. He's holding Mind in. He's a little bit in control now. He's only on 3 factories, but he's producing very heavily on the tanks, while on the opposite side we see more Vultures and Goliaths being produced by Mind. Doesn't quite have the economy to support, but we're going to see whether C actually manages to compete. Mind does have mines out with those Vultures, so those Vultures still could get close to those siege tanks if they try. So C has to be overall very careful. Mind does have his own 4 tanks to C's own 4. Scan's going to come up. We're going to see whether they're going to be siege war. Mind sneaking some Vultures from behind there, trying to plant down some mines. A couple of tanks and Goliaths spotting that. Just have to be very careful not line into those mines. Nice little positioning that's Mind trying to take. Make sure that takes care of any sort of trying to get those mines up to close to that bridge at the natural expo of C's, trying to close off any resupply, any reinforcements, and any retreat routes. C, meanwhile, going to get his own 3rd base up, so we're probably going to be seeing him putting up additional factories. A little bit of a siege fight coming in. C taking full advantage of the fact that he has that barracks and doesn't have to waste scans, picking off some tanks here and there. Mind, though, fighting back a little bit. Does